Imagine this scenario. We all walk through one of those doors to be here this afternoon. But what if, as you're entering, there was a guard at the door? For every 3 people that tried to enter, he let only 2 in. And for that one, the reason they could not participate this afternoon was based purely on the income of their parents. That's part of the analogy for my master's thesis. What we know is, depending on the exact city or country you look in, approximately 2/3 of children are able to participate in basically any physical activity program or sport that they are interested in. But for the 1/3, or the one child left outside the room, they're not able to participate in part because of their family's socioeconomic circumstances. And that's where a lot of the research has focused so far in this area. Researchers understand how programs' registration fees, equipment costs, transportation options, or lack thereof, act as some of the barriers preventing lower income kids from participating in sports and activities that they have a particular interest in. But more recently, researchers have started to shift their focus and are instead looking at initiatives that are trying to tackle this issue. So for example, you may have heard of the Ontario government's recent decision to get rid of the children's activity tax credit, as well as the federal government made a similar announcement just last week, in part because 7 different Canadian studies found that these tax credits had absolutely no impact in this population. So this led me to ask, what impact are other initiatives having? Across Canada, we counted over 500 organizations that provide financial grants aimed directly at helping remove some of the financial barriers that these families face. But from a research perspective, we have absolutely no idea if these grants actually work or how these organizations operate. So for nearly the past 10 months, I've been following one such organization, and through this partnership, have collected over 600 pages of interview transcripts, organizational records, and field notes. And from these data, here's one of the amazing things. In essence, we believe that these 500+ organizations like KidSport and Jumpstart that provide these financial grants are making a difference with certain segments of families. Through interviews with families that have received financial grants in the past and other community and organizational stakeholders, we believe that they are tackling a part of the issue. And that's one of the study's main findings. They are a part of the solution. Because from here, we want to understand how organizations like KidSport and Jumpstart that provide these financial grants can work with sport apparel manufacturers, mass transit providers, and other similar organizations to try to remove as many of the barriers as possible. So as you leave here this afternoon, notice there was no guard that stopped you from participating, just as I hope through my master's and then as I move on to my PhD research projects, any child that's interested in playing sport or joining a physical activity program is able to do so.